Welcome to NewsNation, where right and left come to be reasonable. And boy, if you think that Epstein is an example of where the president is actually sideways with the interests of his own base, the news today is something you need to pay attention. This Senate hearing with Bobby Kennedy was big news, and not because of what you think it was going to be. And I'm with you. The Senate versus Trump's health secretary, Bobby Kennedy Jr., but there was something else, and the headlines miss it or ignore it. So that's why I'm talking to you about it right now. Here, the news is the headline. I'll give you the headline. More of the same. Kennedy went at it with Democrats.
The mRNA technology is about continuing the research to be ready for the next flu, influenza, the next pandemic, and you have to do the research.
I'm happy to have a detailed discussion with you about it. You're so wrong on your facts.
You're interrupting me, and sir, you're a charlatan. That's what you are.
You are citing data that you won't produce to the public.
You're just
you are rejecting
You're
science.
making things up to scare people, and it's a lie. I never promised that I was going to recommend products with which there is no indication.
When you said,
and I know you've taken $855,000 from pharmaceutical companies, Senator.
Did you hold up a big sign saying that you were lying?
Okay, now look, this is what you should have expected. The Democrats have decided they've got to be full frontal against this administration. And I understand it. I think inept is enough. Evil, too much. But that said, I found many of the lines of questioning from the left legitimate. At the same time, Secretary Kennedy polls higher than any other cabinet secretary because of what you just saw. He goes back at his old team in a way that pleases the right. Now, that's how we got here, which is a place that sucks. It is a place of opposition as a legitimate position, of no progress. But there was something else that we don't see. The heat coming at Secretary Kennedy was not just from the left.
Agree with me that the president deserves a Nobel Prize for Operation Warp Speed?
Yeah, absolutely, Senator.
It surprises me that you think so highly of Operation Warp Speed when, as an attorney, you attempted to restrict access.
I can't conclude from the discussion today where you are on Warp Speed. Was it good? Was it bad? Were there things that worked? Were there things that didn't work?
In your confirmation hearings, you promised to uphold the highest standards for vaccines. Since then, I've grown deeply concerned.
For all their fringe anti-vax, especially anti-COVID vaccine, and there's good and bad reason for that, the majority respects science. Science is not Hunter's laptop. It is not trans sports. It's not something that can be wildly exaggerated for the extreme play to the fringe, which works in social media. But there is a perversity, an extremism, a fundamentalism that it is feeding, which is why we're seeing more violence. But it doesn't play to the majority. Even MAGA men and women in office do not want to go home and defend wiping vaccines and research that they know helps make us a less sick society. They know that. They don't want to have to own the opposite of that truth. To me, this is proof that all is not lost. There is truth, and more importantly, there is still respect for the process of ascertaining truth. All the time? No. Enough of the time? No. But it is not dead either. And I think the data proves my premise, okay? For all the noise, science is an 80-20 issue. You know how we talk about those here? You know, this is a big majority issue. Most of us are on the same side, okay? Trump usually has a great feel for this, and I think he does here too, but he's stuck. Because his feel is telling him that the way to go is not the way his base wants him to go. And if you think Epstein was proof of that, this is 100 times that, except this time he's right. On Epstein, he was wrong. Now, in favor of respecting what scientists say, not Rogan, okay, that's where the majority is. The Florida Surgeon General saying no vaccine mandates are necessary. That made O'Reilly wince, okay? That's only embraced by the extreme on the right. People believe in proof, but as my friend Yohir just said perfectly, science and trust have to go hand in hand, okay? And on vaccines, We know they work. That's why at the hearing today, Kennedy was in an awkward position at one point. He had to defend that he agreed that the president should get the Nobel Prize for Operation Warp Speed, but at the same time, he has been a significant critic of what came out of the same operation. You see what I'm saying? My fellow philosophers, this is a political paradox. And my recommendation to the President of the United States, and I'm sure that matters, follow the people, Mr. President. Follow the people. You got a good nose for this. 80% of Americans support vaccines for kids. Not the COVID vaccine, but the idea that you get rid of all of them is the ultimate baby in bathwater metaphor. 70% of Republicans say the same thing. 68, 70, whatever. There's an MOE, right? Why? Because vaccines work, duh. The problem is not that all MAGA are extreme. That's not true. But all extreme are in MAGA when it comes to this issue. The left's got its own extreme. Trump has to make a choice. And his choice should please those who are reasonable and even those on the reasonable part of the left. The post that only I seem to care about, where the president demanded debate on the vaccine, the COVID vaccine data, that's the proof that he is with the righteous on this one. The president's proclivity for choosing his own interests will work for the common concern here. Be on the right side of this 80-20, Mr. President. And it's on the side of science. You got to prove it. You got to show it. You want to test the COVID vaccine against, go ahead. Go ahead. Let's get it. More data. Let's do it. But this is the right place to be. Now, thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.